Hey, what's up, everybody? Benji Bruce here, and we're going to talk about this, okay? Your psychology should be so intense that it doesn't make sense to people who aren't on your level. I'm going to say that again because I thought it was brilliant. So your psychology should be so intense that it doesn't make sense to people who aren't on your level. So here's the thing. If you want to accomplish something, you have to be prepared to think in ways that don't make sense to other people. You have to be absolutely prepared for it. You have to be completely prepared for people to not understand who you are and how you think. You have to be completely prepared for that, okay? Because to accomplish something, you have to believe thoughts that are contradictory to what other people believe. I remember seeing a thing with Warren Buffett, and it's like in his documentary. And Warren Buffett, he was talking about how he has pictures on his wall in the office. And these are pictures of times of crisis. So these are like old news stories that happened where everyone said like, oh, the world is coming to an end. Oh my goodness, stocks crashed. Oh my goodness, all this stuff. The housing market's gone. And and everyone's like freaking out. And he has all this stuff, all these articles from like way back in the day. And so he has that there to remind him and everyone that no matter what's going on, people are going to freak out. And when other people freak out, you keep your cool. And so he thinks in a way that other people don't. And when you're an athlete, when you're an entrepreneur, you think in ways that are extremely competitive, like insanely competitive, insanely aggressive. If you want to get healthy, you have these incredible thoughts of sugar equals death. It's things like that. Like, oh no, I can't have that. I mean, if I eat some cake, I'm gonna die. And these are like extreme thoughts that people don't get. And I mean, if you're in the real estate market and you want to basically do more real estate investing and all that shebang stuff. Well, when the real estate market goes down, most people are flipping out. They're like, oh my goodness, the real estate market's gone. Oh my goodness. But the smart guys are saying, oh, this is perfect. This is the perfect time to buy because now all these houses are really cheap. And so what happens is you think in ways that other people aren't used to. Now, people who are on your level, they will understand your psychology. They'll understand you. Everyone else, they won't, okay? So, I mean, money is actually the perfect example of this because if you listen to rich people and you listen to everyone else talks about money as if it's a bad thing. Everyone says things like, oh, it's greedy. Oh, it doesn't bring you happiness, all sorts of stuff. And whenever someone says that to someone who has money, it doesn't make sense to them. It's like someone who has money says, you know what, we're going to do $1 million in profits. And then this person over here says, you know, money doesn't bring you happiness. And the rich person's like, what? What are you even talking about? I didn't even mention that. That's like us talking about what we're eating, and all of a sudden you say like, oh, you know what? The food, it doesn't bring you happiness. So it doesn't even make sense. And so you got to understand that your psychology should go above and beyond what most people are willing to grasp, what most people can grasp, because you don't need to be understood. You just need to get results. That's the only thing you're focused on. Who cares about whether or not people understand you? Get results. Your psychology should be so intense that it doesn't make sense to people who aren't on your level. People who are on your level will completely understand how you think. Everyone else is going to be lost. Everyone else probably talk trash about you. Everyone else, I don't really care where everyone else is. So you got to understand that your psychology should be extremely intense. I remember when I was doing restaurant magic, and when I was doing restaurant magic, other magicians were talking about performing. They were talking about the tricks they were doing and things like that. I wanted to talk about business. I was thinking along the lines of, I'm not just going to perform in restaurant magic I'm not just going to perform in restaurants just to get tips. I was performing there to get the corporate gigs, to get high paying corporate gigs, to get these companies to pay me. And so that's what I was focused on. I wasn't focused on the tricks or anything. Instead of just getting a $300 gig, I was thinking like, oh, let me get a $10,000 gig. And that's what I was thinking about. So they talked about tricks. I talked about marketing. They talked about, I want to be the next Michael Jordan of the magic industry, of the entertainment industry. I said, I want to own the damn team. Like, that's what I was focused on. Everyone else talking about, I want to be Michael Jordan. I said, man, I want to own the damn team. And so your psychology should be at a level where it just doesn't make sense to most people. People who are on your level, they'll say like, forget about being Michael Jordan. Let me just own the freaking team. And so a lot of people are holding themselves back because they're afraid of what other people think. They're afraid that if I think these thoughts and if I tell people these thoughts, they're going to say something about it. They're going to say like, he's all about the money. He's all about the business or whatever. And they probably will. But that's why they're going to stay here and you're going to get up here. Okay. So it doesn't really matter. You got to stop living your life based on what other people expect of you. You just simply live your life in the way you want to live your freaking life. And so when you are extremely focused and you're focused on something that you want to accomplish, you get this insane tunnel vision and the world around you, it just disappears. Like everything around you is just gone. I mean, you get this insane tunnel vision. And so you're not interested in normal conversation. Someone says, I don't know, how's the weather going? You're like, dude, I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time to talk about the weather. What you talking about the weather for? Come on, man. And so you're just not interested in normal conversation. And so you become extremely obsessed with this goal and it's all you can think about. It's all you focus on. You become really aggressive. You become really competitive. You move the world out of the way to get this thing done. And so I tell people like, look, don't tell me to put the brakes on my ambition just because you have none. And so when people aren't as ambitious as you, they'll tell you to slow down. They'll tell you like, hey, man, you're doing all this, you're going to burn out. Look, I'll never burn out because, that's just who I am. I can't burn out. I'm so focused. I don't even think about that stuff. It just won't happen. And so it really comes down to, hey, don't tell me to slow down just because you can't keep up. And most people, they just won't understand you, and that's okay. Ambitious people should not be understood. They can't be understood. Ambitious people just get results. That's what you're focused on. You think in a way that produces results and you ignore everything else. So if you get results, good. If you don't, you got to change and then you got to keep adjusting along the way. But it comes down to this one thing and this one thing only. Your psychology should be so intense that it doesn't make sense to people who aren't on your level.